Cooper, why is your name vibrate on my screen?
That's what I'm going for.
You picked the only color not visible to human vision.
Yeah, I was thinking I was having some sort of a snow blindness kind of issue with that flashing lime green. That's horrible.
That's great.
Danny.
I wish I could make my text that color. Okay. Let's do a show. How about it? Okay, great. That's a good idea, Russell. Let's.
That's a great idea, Russell. Let's do it.
Everybody in the chat, don't forget to start up your commercials.
Yeah.
Build them up.
Get your commercials going, and be sure to throw those barbs at us so that you distract us from the news. Okay, here we go. Hey everybody, welcome to What Drives Us, episode 56, recorded March 16th, 2011, and being streamed live right now at about 9:27 Eastern Daylight Time. My name is Russell Frost from PriusOwnersGroup.com. I am the white iPhone to my co-host's black HTC handset.
Oh, you gotta make this a race thing, huh? I don't see color, Russell.
I had there right outside, didn't I?
I'm Danny Cooper from PriusChat.com, and I'm glad to be on the show again tonight.
There we go. And as I mentioned above, we stream the show live every Wednesday, starting at about 9 p.m. That's our pregame thing. The show usually starts, somewhere in the next 30 minutes. And you, Danny.
This is my go, right? If you want to hear us live and chat with us in our chat room while we do the show live, you can visit whatdrives.us/live, or you can go to livestream.com/whatdrivesus.
Or you can just go to whatdrives.us and click the live button at the top. Again, we are here every Wednesday night at about 9 p.m., and we would love to have you join us. And now, please allow me to introduce the esteemed panel we have gathered this week. A founding member of the Chicago Prius Group, Prius Chat moderator, and a noted work explosion expert, it is Mr. Tony Schaefer.
Hey, everybody. I'm glad to be here. And I'll tell you what, if you like advanced technology, home improvement, and down-home cooking, you're probably listening to the wrong podcast.
Can we do any of those three?
Yeah, he's starting to write down his responses now. Oh.
Hey, I made that up on the fly.
Did you? Yeah, these scripted jokes are just so funny.
And the moderator of the Prius Group, one of the big brains behind Green Drive Expo. When she's not wearing OSHA Safety Yellow, she's in her red Honda Insight. It is Linda Weideman.
Hello, everybody from lovely Wisconsin, where spring has finally sprung.
Ooh, I like that.
What does that constitute in Wisconsin?
It means that most of the snow is gone. There's almost enough snow melt so that we can start getting the kids' bouncy house out. So that's the true measure of spring.
In spring in Wisconsin, the Democratic senators migrate north.
Nicely done, Tony. Nicely done.
It must be breeding season. And moderator. I had to go there, didn't I?
Oh.
And he's the obsessive-compulsive hypermiler, the owner of not one, but two Honda hybrids and more guitars than most people. He is Jason Holder.
Hey guys, I want to give a shout out to everybody who's chatting right now. Thanks for joining us here for the live stuff. You make it a lot cooler, definitely.
Amen, brother. That's beautiful. And with us this week, we have a very special guest. He is the captain of the Mater Dei High School Supermileage team. His name is Trevor Fleck. Say hi to everybody, Trevor.
Hey, everybody. What's going on?
And we had Trevor on this week just to talk about all the cool stuff they're doing. I've, having spent time in years past going to a lot of alt car shows and seeing a lot of these high school and college competing teams, it's amazing the stuff that they do. So Jason was lucky enough to turn up Trevor for us. And Trevor, thanks for coming on.
Hey, no problem. Glad to be here.
Excellent. Oh, that's going to be an edit. Everybody like my dogs?
Who let the dogs out?
Where's that Smith & Wesson you were talking about?
Oh. I can't. Okay. So, nothing like an edit right at the beginning of the show. Okay. Now the dogs have calmed down. So, Trevor, tell us about the Mater Dei Supermileage team, what you guys do, what you've accomplished in the past. Just give us like a little, the rundown, I guess.
Alrighty, I'm the team captain of the Mater Dei Supermileage team. The team and I, we design and build cars that get pretty good gas mileage compared to what everyone else gets driving their own cars. We compete at the Shell Eco Marathon, which is down in Houston in around April. And that's where it's pretty much a big fuel efficiency competition where everyone, or there's like high school and college teams from, it's mainly just the Americas, like South America and North America, but there have been some Asian and some European teams that came in past years too. So that's where we compete. And the past couple years, we've done pretty well. We've taken first in at least one of the gas division, first place in either division over the past 3 years. So that's been real good. So we've been successful and been able to take home first place. So that's been good.
That's awesome.
There's two divisions for gas engines. There's the smaller prototype cars that are kind of unrealistic, and we designed a car in that division that achieved 2,843 miles per gallon.
Wow, I'm sorry.
And then
2,843 miles per gallon?
Yeah, and that's actually the American record right now. And then in the big car division, it's the urban concept car, and these cars are actually a lot more comparable to what everyone else drives today. They're a lot bigger cars. They have 4 wheels, and pretty much they're street legal. They don't have airbags or any of those safety things, but they're pretty close. They're really similar to actually what we drive today, and we have taken first place in that division the last 2 years when we set the record at 437 miles per gallon in that division.
Wow.
That's amazing. Now, is the one that got 2,800 miles per gallon, is that the one that's powered by like a 50cc motor?
Yeah, that's the one there. Yeah.
A little direct injection 50cc motor, and this it's the long skinny one, right?
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah.
Absolutely.
And then the.
Go
Sorry,
ahead.
go ahead.
No, go ahead.
The other car, I'm not sure if you've seen a picture of it. It's the short one that looks like George Jetson drives it.
Yes, with the bubble top kind of thing.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Its nickname is George because it looks like George Jetson's car. So
okay, so that picture, that's the whole car.
Does it have a back?
Yeah.
No, really.
No, it does not.
Wow.
There's rules for the competition, like on how big the car has to be, and it only has to be a certain length. So we figured it would best just to cut it off there and not adding in any extra weight. So
excellent. And we're already getting questions from the chat, Trevor. So I just wanted to, the Force asked, how fast are you going to get 2,000 plus MPG?
Well, that's the thing. It's somewhat relatable. I mean, to how we drive on the road. In the competition, we run about 10 miles every run, and you have to average about 15 miles per hour throughout the entire run. Now, that doesn't mean that we actually stay at 15 miles an hour constant. What we do is we actually burn gas all the way up until we hit about 20 miles per hour. And then we shut off the engine, coast down to about 10 miles per hour, and then we turn the engine back on and burn back up to 20 and keep doing that until we get to
You pulse and glide.
That's faster than Jason drives.
I think I may have been passed by that car one day on the road. You know,
on Lloyd Expressway, right?
Yeah, it must have been.
Wow. Now, I mean, you guys, this isn't like a full-on team. I mean, this isn't just like a couple of you guys hacking the stuff together. You have drivers and you have mechanics and the whole 9 yards.
Yeah, pretty much. When I joined the team 3 years ago, I think there was about, I'd say 15 or so kids on the team. And then actually this year we have a pretty large number. We have about 21 kids on the team.
Wow, that's big.
Yeah, that's awesome.
How big is the school?
And
I want to ask Trevor real quick here. Now, when do you pick the driver? I mean, do you like find the smallest, scrawniest freshman you can find and get him to drive your car?
That's exactly correct, pretty much.
Trevor, does he train with the Mater Dei wrestlers? Because you guys have a pretty fierce wrestling team too. Does he put on the garbage bags and the sweats and go out and jogging so he can lose every little ounce of extra weight before the run?
We're actually not that particular about it, but the funny thing is that our driver for the award-winning car, he actually is on the wrestling team, so that's kind of a little funny there.
Very cool. That sort of reminds me. I was slightly embarrassed when I heard about you guys. I'm ashamed to admit that I didn't realize that Mater Dei had such a strong, presence in this type of a competition. I actually had lunch several weeks back with Mike Cyrock from CleanMPG.com, and he said, "Hey, have you ever met any of the guys from the Mater Dei Supermileage team?" Because Mike is not from Southern Indiana. He just happened to be in the town that day, and we had lunch, and I said, no, I don't even know what that is. So I'm apologizing to you. I had no idea what you guys were doing, but I don't know how this could have slipped past me, because honestly, I'm totally into this sort of thing.
And that's an understanding.
Yeah, I'm sorry, go ahead.
He was just chiding me.
I was just giving Jason a hard time, which is sort of my place in the show.
Yeah.
I see.
Another question from the chat room. Some Electric Pickle wanted to know why you guys didn't go for the Progressive Auto X Prize.
Can you say that again? I'm sorry.
One of the questions from the chat room was wondering if you had or why you didn't go for the Progressive Auto X Prize.
I don't know why. I've actually never heard of that, so if you know more, let me know. I'm not really sure what that's all about.
That's a fair answer. I mean, you guys aren't really focusing on that sort of thing,
That was the X Prize was the competition to build a car that averaged 100 miles per gallon for a certain period of time. What was that?
Correct. Offered by Google and Progressive Auto. It was $1 million prize, if I'm not mistaken.
It focused more on corporations, though, didn't it?
And colleges and
stuff
like that.
Colleges were part of it too.
It was really the people that compete in that thing spend tons of money building those cars. Which I guess brings me to the next question.
Yeah. I think
on these cars.
Surprisingly, not very much at all. George, the bigger car, I know we originally built that for $3,000, and then most of that money came from buying the aluminum for the frame and buying the engine. So.
Wow.
And so every year, do you guys modify your existing car, or do you kind of start from scratch every year?
It depends. We haven't built a new car. We didn't build a new car last year. We just modified the cars that we had. In total, last year we took 3 gas-powered cars to the Shell Eco Marathon competition, and we are taking back all 3 this year. And we're also building an electric car, but we can talk about that later. For the most part, we just modify what we have, but every now and then we have to go back to the board and draw up something new, because it's pretty much taken down to the limits on how much you can improve something before you just go back and build a whole new car. So,
and the Shell competition, how many is this strictly for high school teams?
No, actually, there's a couple high school teams, but for the most part, it's colleges.
Oh, wow. Okay. How many usually compete?
You beat some universities then, is that what you're saying?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know how to say that modestly, but I mean, yeah, there's a lot of universities that show up and compete, so.
Yeah, I know when I was involved with Tour de Sol, one of the high school teams in Philadelphia regularly did really well. I mean, a lot of the high school teams compete really, really well against major universities.
Yeah, I know there's several high schools from out in California. I know I've gotten to meet a couple people from out there, and I think high schools tend to get more members involved because I think it's kind of easier to recruit people from like high school in high school because you see them every day and you have a lot of the same classes with them, and so you get to know them. And they're like, hey, they know you, so they're more willing to get involved. Whereas like in college, I mean, I'm not in college yet, so I wouldn't know, but you don't see or know as many people as well as you do.
Sure.
So I have a question organizationally. Is this like is this strictly like an extracurricular activity for you guys, or is it part of like an engineering class, or?
For us, it's strictly extracurricular. We meet Sundays and then after school on Tuesdays and Thursdays as the competition gets closer. I know that there are a lot of teams though that have classes where they work on it in class. So.
Wow. When's the next? You said it's a shell competition down in Houston.
Yeah, it's in Houston. Mid-April is whenever the competition starts. Yeah.
Oh, excellent! So you're gearing up for it now.
Yeah. For right now, we're pretty much just putting all the fine touches on the car or on the cars, and then the electric car, we're a little bit behind schedule, but we're catching up. We have some more work to do on that to make sure it gets done. It's a kind of a new project because we've never done an electric car before, so it's kind of all new. We're kind of testing our way through it and seeing how it works out.
Yeah, how much can you tell us about that? I'm not sure how secretive you are before the big April
We're not really secretive at all. As far as the electric car goes, it's a whole new thing for us. Nobody on our team is real good with electrics. We simply bought an electric motor from a company, I believe they're based in New York, but I'm not 100% sure on that. We bought a electric motor from them. It's something similar that you would just put on a bike that would make your car, or that would make your bike an electric motor-powered bike. And like the motor fits right in the hub of the bicycle wheel, and it's really small. All you have to do is plug it into a battery, and it goes. So we're trying to do it as simple as possible, and make sure we're not testing anything too extreme here on the first year we're building a new car. So
that's pretty cool, though. You know,
it's amazing.
Just don't hold any press conferences promising 230 miles per gallon. Just promise me you won't do that.
What kind of is it the same competition for electrified vehicles, or is it a different category?
Actually, at the Shell Eco Marathon, there's multiple types of powered vehicles. There's the gas-powered division, there's diesel-powered engines, there's actually hydrogen gas-powered engines, and then there's also electric motors, and then there's a whole other division of solar cars. So there's a lot of cars, different types competing at the competition.
Of the 18 cars from Indiana that are going to be down there in Houston, are they all yours, or are there other teams from Indiana going to be there too?
Oh, there's a lot of other teams from Indiana. I can't really name all of them off the top of my head, but that's not just us. I can name a couple. I know Rose-Hulman University in Terre Haute has a couple cars going down, whereas Purdue University also, they have a couple solar cars going down. So,
and again, you guys are competing against universities.
Yeah, that's correct.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at the different universities who have participated in this, and this is like, UC Berkeley and schools like that you guys are competing against. So that's so admirable that that you guys are holding your own against, schools of that caliber.
Oh yeah, and once again, if you could do me another personal favor, kick Purdue's ass.
You have to be nice. That's actually where I'm going to college next year, so you have to be nice.
So you're saying, Tony, you want him to kick his own ass? Is that what I'm hearing?
No, what I'm saying is it would be amazingly impressive for you to show up and already be known as the high schooler who beat your... And the fact that I went to IU. But second to that
yeah.
would be...
There's that.
Yeah.
So did most of you guys...
Actually,
Go ahead, Trevor. I'm sorry.
Actually, in the past couple of years, Purdue has competed with it. They have done very well in the solar car division. They've pretty much won that the past several years and done very well there. So we haven't competed in the solar division. We've just done gas, and this year, for the first time, we're going to try electric and see how that works out.
Sure. I mean, with limited resources, you have to kind of focus on where you're going to compete. You can't really do everything.
Yeah.
So about the
that's definitely for sure.
Yeah, on the electric vehicle here, is it still a 100-mile course? I think you said the gas was.
It's still the same track. It's a it's a real short track in downtown Houston where they run, and we have to do so many laps. I believe it's 6 laps, and you go 10 miles, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, okay.
That may not be correct, but...
So what's the size? How big are your batteries?
Our batteries, I'm kind of stuck here. For the electric car, the battery, it's not really that big a battery. We got pretty much the smallest battery we could, so that make sure that it's as light as possible.
Yeah.
But it's not anything impressive of battery. It's pretty small. It's smaller than a car battery, that's for sure.
Oh, okay.
The idea is to go light and, just finish the course, right?
What battery chemistry have you gone with on that, Trevor? I don't know if you said that already, if I missed that.
It's a lithium-ion battery, I'm pretty sure. Okay.
I was just picturing, you were talking about going with the smallest thing possible, but also then to save weight, I thought, well, some people, surely they're not using lead-acid batteries, but, so you're thinking it's very modern battery chemistry then?
Yeah, it's.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure it's lithium-ion. I don't think it is a polymer ion, but I'm pretty sure it's just a lithium-ion battery.
And so are you guys, for the most part, are you guys interested in what's going on in the, the mainstream market as far as EVs and hydrogen fuel cell cars and things like that? Or is this just something that, for the most part, some of you guys have just kind of fallen into as an interest and later on, you might become interested in something else?
That's kind of how it worked out for me. I didn't really care that much about fuel mileage and all that, being green and all that, but then one of my friends actually was involved in it, and he got me involved, and now I'm fairly interested in it, and I'm actually wanting to pursue a career in fuel efficiency and working with a car company somewhere. So
nice. Well, that's awesome. And you certainly have a lot of direct experience kind of just making things work very efficiently from a materials, from a cost standpoint. I mean, that's a great place to start.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Anybody else?
It's been a great learning experience. I've learned so much more than I thought I would through the program, and it's been a lot of fun along the way.
Yeah.
Too, so.
Tell me the truth. On weekends, sometimes you guys get these cars out and you just get them to go as fast as you can.
Not quite as much. We don't tend to do that, but we like to have fun. If we're testing the cars, someone might try to go faster than the other, but we never really all-out race or do anything like that, so I would have to say no to that one.
It's probably not right for me to try and trap you in a recorded show, admit. Yeah. We had the one carbon fiber car up to 110 miles an hour. It was great.
All of a sudden, the Terre Haute police department's going to be watching over the weekends while they're testing their vehicles.
Exactly.
So I do have to wonder, Trevor, if this makes you want to tinker with your your regular car. You work on these cars that get 2,800 miles per gallon, and then you hop in your whatever you drive that's getting 30 to 35 or so. Do you ever just want to apply what you've learned to your everyday car?
Not really. I mean, to make it, it's more how small you can make your car. There's nothing major that I could do to my car to make it get real good gas mileage. It pretty much comes down to like simple things. Like, I mean, I know this kind of is away from the question, but like making sure like my tire pressure is as up as it needs to be. Like if your tires are low on pressure, then you're going to get less gas mileage. Just simple things like that I wasn't aware of before I got involved, that now I kind of make sure that I do, just because it makes you get better gas mileage. So,
Trevor, I have 2 questions. What do you drive normally?
I drive a 2000 Ford Focus.
That's a good car. And what is the tire pressure on one of these little cars that you guys are working on?
On the little cars, on the small car, I know they're like regular. They're like bike tires. They're different.
Okay.
They're not the exact same as bike tires, but they're similar to the shape as bike tires. I know that you typically run them at 60 psi, but I know we have gotten them up to 90 psi before when we made runs.
Holy cow! Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Will do that. It's kind of like riding on a steel wheel at that point.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like.
Nice. Well, any other questions for Trevor?
Well, I don't have any questions, but I just want to say, Trevor, I think it's awesome what you guys are doing.
Outstanding.
Yeah, it really is. Congratulations.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah. Go down to Houston and kick some butt this year. Bring back some more trophies.
All right, I'll make sure I do that.
Trevor, you guys should come up to Madison, Wisconsin this summer and attend Green Drives. Take a friggin' bus, bring the whole team up. I think you guys would have a great time geeking out with the rest of us.
What a great idea, Jason.
Right.
Yeah,
Awesome.
Field trip. I'll talk to you some more about that.
Oh, no.
You're like celebrities for a weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
There you go. There you go. Linda, how did you miss that one?
I'm not sure. I was busy reading the chat. Thank you, Jason, for picking that one up.
No problem.
At 15 miles per hour, if you leave now.
You might be there by July.
You might actually beat me, in fact.
Just don't take the electric.
Yeah. It'll only cost you $1 to get there, so no big deal.
That's true.
That's nice. Well, Trevor, thanks very much for coming on. If people want to hook up with Trevor and the Mater Dei team, the best thing to do is go to facebook.com, search for the Mater Dei Supermileage team, and that is spelled MATER space DEI space Supermileage team. Definitely check them out. Trevor, it is awesome what you guys are doing, and it's really cool to see you guys in a very real sense kind of leading the cutting edge of development of some of these cars. I'm sure a lot of the things that you guys do get passed on and picked up, by other cars. So good for you. Hey, just out of curiosity, before we let you go, if you had a choice this year to buy a brand new car, what would you get? Hello?
Went silent.
Uh-oh, do we lose him?
I just got a message from him that he said, I guess he couldn't hear anything he said.
Oh no.
Oh.
Bummer, he didn't get a chance to answer your question.
Should I call him back?
Yeah, let's call him back. I want to hear what he has to
It's
say.
the most
Try to end it.
important question of the show.
You just want him to say Prius, right?
No, I don't.
Tesla.
I want him to say whatever he wants.
What if he says Hummer, though? I mean, what if... Are you prepared for...
Hey, then hang up on him.
So you probably missed some of it. I just said congratulations on what you're doing. It's awesome to see you guys doing so much cool stuff, so much cutting edge development that hopefully gets passed on up to production cars that all of us can drive. And along those lines, Trevor, I'm just curious of the green cars out right now. If you had a choice, which one would you pick?
Oh, I don't know. I know the Prius gives real good gas mileage, but I don't know. I'd probably go with the Prius, I guess.
What was your other choice? Because it sounds like the
SRT Challenger, right? That's your other choice.
Yeah, that's what I was going to go with behind Prius. That was my second
choice. It's either that or the Prius. Yeah.
It was the '68 Mustang Fastback.
I was going to say the Saline Mustang, but
yeah.
I remember high school. I didn't want a Prius then.
Maybe down the road. I mean, you never know what happens. So.
There you go. Well, Trevor, thanks again for coming on. And we will. We'd like to have you back when you come back from Houston to hear how things went.
Yeah. I'll be sure to stay in contact and let you guys know.
Absolutely. Drop us a line, and it would be great to follow up with you after Houston. Find out if you kicked Purdue's butt. Oh wait, no, you don't want to kick Purdue's butt.
I'm telling you, man, that would be the best. That would be the best way into the engineering curriculum at Purdue. Would be to set the bar before you're even there.
Yep, because they're going to think if we can't beat this guy, he's got to join us or something. Got to get you on the team.
Yep.
Trevor, I just want to caution you against taking any advice from any of us. It's probably not a good idea. Probably not. So, hey, thanks very much, man.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely.
Thanks, Trevor.
Thank you, Trevor.
Thanks, man.
All right. See you guys later.
Later, man.
Bye.
Later.
All right, I got to take like a 12-second break because I got to let Indy out of the room.
That's fine.
Hold on.
We're taking a break. Let's go see
1,000, 3, 1,000.
Oh, no. Do I see? Oh, no. Maybe not.
So you're blind then?
I'm blind.
If you don't, I'm sorry.
You're not the first one to make that observation.
Stating the obvious.
Yeah.
We could stop before then.
Ba-dum. Okay, kids, we're going to go into the news, and then we're done. Should be pretty straightforward.
All right, sorry about
the
that.
last thing. I drove a 47 Plymouth in high school. Oh, my God. Tell me it was 1951.
Who drove a 47?
Okie.
Ogie.
Why am I not seeing the chat?
I don't know. Why are you not seeing the chat?
I don't see that in the chat.
I had a 1969 Plymouth Fury.
Did you? 67 Mustang, folks.
Yep.
Ooh.
And then I also had a 73 Charger SE. Factory green with the white hardtop and the grills in the back. Sweet car.
Right before I graduated, I had a 70 Challenger.
Wow.
Yeah, 6 miles per gallon, baby. 3 carburetors, okay? 3. Count them, 3.
No way.
You guys want to hear something kind of stupid and lame?
Have you been listening to the show?
Okay, you want to hear something else stupid and lame? The first car I ever had, I had this 1991 V8 Camaro. It was a 305, kind of the throttle body injection. I used to try to get the best gas mileage I could out of that thing, and I remember feeling just absolutely tickled one day when I had like 24. So it's like I had the wrong car back then or whatever, but I was still trying to do the same shit that I do today. Just had the wrong tool for the job.
Hyper mileage.
I had this like sports car, and I was just like trying to, it always felt like a video game. It's like, yeah, go for a high score.
My first car was a Toyota Paseo, 92 Paseo, and even back then, that thing got 40 miles to the gallon without any effort. And I drove like a high school kid.
You still do, don't you? I mean,
yeah. Well, I don't drive in power mode like you all the time, buddy.
I've been driving a lot more in eco mode these
See, this is what's fun about the chat. Everybody's posting what they drove in high school.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Is there going to be like a software update where you can do like a super eco mode when the gas prices really get high in these in these pre-I?
It's called pushing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's called taking the bus. Okay, are we ready to get back into it?
Let's do it.
I think so.
Let's do it. Okay, here we go, kids. And thanks to Trevor Fleck from the Mater Dei Supermileage team for joining us. It was great to, it was really cool, actually, to hear all the stuff they're doing. I'm thinking, like, though, that whole get up to 20 miles an hour, then turn the motor off. Yeah, I don't think that's a sustainable business model. You know?
It's hard to put that in the owner's manual.
Yeah. At 20 miles an hour, please turn the vehicle off.
Well, everybody knows you're supposed to pulse from 30 to 11, 30, 11, you know, so he's, you know, he's got it all wrong.
Pulse and glide down. Yeah.
That's the hardcore Insight pulse and glide routine. I don't know what the Prius guys do, but
we just go places.
you just set the cruise and go, right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
We just go places. We're not all that good with that stuff. Someone somewhere is cringing right now because they are really good about it. But so let's talk about the news this week. The first item was from a press release. General Electric, our friends at GE, are kicking off what they're calling the EV Experience Tour. And basically, they're out there pimping their GE Watt Station, which is a electric vehicle charging station. You know, on one level, it's really cool. On another level, I can't think of anything more boring than a GE electrical charging station tour. You know, like, wow.
Are you kidding me? This one looks like it's from Tron.
It is a cool looking station.
Looks like
I
a French
attended
horn.
the Sherman-Williams paint tour. That was pretty boring.
You know, the good news here is another company is putting out another, you know, EV charger. The more of these, hopefully, the lower the cost, the more we'll see them deployed in public, and the more people will be able to use them, which is a good thing.
Okay, well, Electric Pickle in the chat at least says that they have EVs that you can drive, and I guess then you drive them and then you go watch them charge.
Yes.
So let me tell you, I drove the Leaf last week, and the best part about it was watching it charge.
Why was it? Oh no! Wait a second. We should. We didn't put that on the schedule, but we should.
It's not even on the schedule tonight. No.
So you drove a Leaf last week?
Yeah. Friday.
Well, and the best part was watching it charge?
No.
Okay.
I was being.
So
I was being my hilarious self.
Hilarious.
Hilarious. Well, tell us, what's your take on the Leaf, dude?
I liked it a lot. I'll wrap it up in a sentence. Very nice car, as far as the powertrain and everything, but as a consumer, it is not worth at all the money that they're asking for it as far as the fit and finish of the vehicle. You know, it's still definitely a compact car when you get in it, and it is it's you get in it and you still feel like you're in an economy level car. So that was my biggest issue with it. The back seat was not usable for to have adults in the back seat. That was kind of disappointing because I kept hearing people saying that the back seat was great, but that was not the experience I had. It can take off. It's got some really nice get up and go to it. I definitely appreciated that. The electronics of it all, the displays and everything are very nice. They're slightly redundant, but they're still very nice. The mapping system is really cool. The fact that it can always show you the kind of circumference of where you can, the radius of how far you can drive on your current charge. That was very cool, and it's one of those sorts of things that you look at it and it's like, yeah, okay, that's one of those things that's kind of required if you're going to get an electric vehicle.
So when you say fit and finish, I think that it's poorly built. Is that what you meant?
No, I wouldn't say it's poorly built. It's just it's a $37,000 car, and you get in it and it does not feel at all like a $37,000 car. It feels like a $15,000 or $17,000 car with a $20,000 engine in it.
Or $20,000 of the batteries.
Well, I think that's pretty accurate, though, isn't it? That's
well, it is. It is, but I'm saying, from a consumer perspective, like a normal consumer perspective, that's what they're going to think when they sit down in it.
Right, and that's a hugely important observation because most people past these first new adopters aren't going to look at it as like an EV cool. They're going to be like, wow, that's really tiny.
And is that cost right? Did he say 37,000? I thought the Leaf was
32.
priced a bit below that.
Sorry,
32. Okay.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, I know what you're saying though. That is expensive. It probably feels to the average person like a car that's half that much. Cost twice as much as the technology is going to come down in cost or whatever. But Danny, do you think that your perception right there of the car being maybe not necessarily a great value because you pay all that money, but you don't feel like the end product is that exact total amount of money worth of car? Do you think that is gonna hurt or just have a neutral effect on the adoption of electric cars for mainstream personal transportation?
For this generation of EVs that's currently out there, well, i.e. the Leaf is the only thing. It's the only actual EV that's out there right now, except for the Tesla, but that's way out of reach for anyone. I came away thinking that if Joe Blow had gone to that event and driven the car, he would have gotten out of the car and said, "Wow, that thing drives really well. It handles really well. It was comfortable to sit in the front. The back seat was kind of small. The trunk space was very good for the size of vehicle it was. So I'd be willing to pay like $22,000 for it." And then they get told the $32,000 price, and they're like, "Ooh, that's not something I need to adopt right now." So I think that this generation of electric vehicle is still going to be solely within the early adopter realm. I don't see this being a mass market appeal car like the second gen Prius was when it hit the market.
More than anything, do you think that's because of the cost, or do you think that the car just may not meet the needs of the average consumer?
No, I think that they did a really good job of presenting why the car could meet your needs. They had this fantastic display with a touchscreen, a gigantic like plasma-sized touchscreen that was a Google map, and you kind of put your finger down in the general area where you lived, and that created a map point. And then you put your finger at your job, and that created a map point. And then you put your finger at where you normally go to lunch, and that created a map point. And it created like what the average mileage was that you put on the car in a day. And for 90% of people who sat down and did that, or like they say, 95% of people, they would see that this car is completely acceptable, at least as a second car for people. I don't see anyone outside of urban areas that could get away with having this car as a as their only car, as their only vehicle, their only mode of transportation, I should say. But in the presentation, they did a really good job. So I think that it comes down more to price than anything else. And I don't want it to be construed that I said that the Leaf was a poorly built or poorly finished car. It's a very well-finished car for a compact car, but it's priced outside of that range.
Right.
Which I already knew going into it, but it didn't really hit me until I sat in it. Does that make sense?
Sure. The physical experience of sitting in the car is a whole different thing than looking at, videos and pictures and all that. when you're in there and you actually kind of hear the door close and you're sitting in the seat, it's a whole different experience.
Right.
Oh.
Yeah, I still haven't had the opportunity to drive one. I'm looking forward to it. Just, if only to get my own personal opinion.
Well, there you go. I could give you a personal opinion if you like, Tony.
No, I said my own.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll move on to the next item then, since we've had any final words, I guess I should say, Annie?
Well, I would love extended time in the vehicle. I only got to drive it for a few miles.
There's a
but they did have a really cool quick charger there, and we've got some new contacts at a charger company that we might have on the show sometime, so that was worthwhile for me.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, yeah, anytime Nissan wants to kick down with the thieves, I'm sure we have a show of hosts and would enjoy the chance to drive the Leaf and develop their own opinion. Right, Tony?
Yeah.
Yeah. Good comeback.
Yeah.
Good comeback. I think Linda's passed out.
It was the new Glarus, I think.
All 12 of them.
Mm-hmm.
We seem to have lost her.
They come in 6-packs, not 12.
Hey, there you are.
I was on mute because.
Oh, okay.
Everybody's
no
kind
one
of breaking
needs to
up
listen
sometimes.
to me cough.
Yeah, I'm noticing that too. Not horribly, but I don't know. Do we want to start the call over? It's okay on this end, I guess is what I'm saying, on the recording end. So
Okay. Well, as long as that's all right.
Okay.
Who cares about the people in the chat?
I do, he says, pandering to the chat room.
I do too, she says, doing what Russell did. Whatever pandering means.
Yeah.
You don't want to know. You don't want to know.
Okay, so I have to say this. I wanted to say this about the GE charging station thingy.
Yeah.
Did you guys
Other
notice?
than it looks like a French horn.
Well, it sort of does. Did you notice how the wires, wind on the inside, and how neatly the wires are wound on the inside? How many minutes do you think that would last if one of these were on the side of the road?
0.
Yeah. No one's going to put that cord back. I mean, you see that every day when you go to a gas station and borrow their air. There's a nice little rack there for people to coil that hose back up, and it's just laying everywhere in the driveway. People don't take the time.
Yeah.
That's funny. Nice observation, Tony.
Well, and then on the top it says, but hello, touch the screen to activate. How many bumper stickers do you think it'll take to render that inactive?
1.
Yeah.
Depends on how big.
Yeah.
It looks like it comes in pink, so I'm not real sure about that.
It does seem to change colors or something.
Now Linda's all for it.
Oh, no, it just comes in different colors. I guess that's either to make it more visible or offensive.
That's not pink. That's coral.
Oh.
If it comes in white, me and Russell will be on board, right?
Appliance white. There you go.
Don't take me there every week, please.
No, honey.
I'm
You
going
open
there
that
with
door
you.
yourself.
Ay, ay, ay. And next up,
Nice segue.
Hyundai put out a new ad this week, and it made Linda cough. No, Hyundai put out a new ad this week, and we've said a lot of wonderful things about Hyundai. We're excited about a lot of the new cars they have coming out, but this ad, aside from being really ugly, and I mean really, really ugly.
Yeah, what's up with that?
And the spaced out woman on the ad kind of scares me. But Hyundai kind of plays fast and loose with math on there, comparing their highway mileage. Wow, that hurt. Comparing their highway mileage with Honda's combined. And also makes a little thing about Honda's Civic actually getting less miles per gallon in 1980 than it does today. I'm not a big fan of that kind of really slick sort of, we're not telling a lie, but we're not really telling the truth either sort of advertising. So I just bring this up to say shame on Hyundai. That's all. Anybody else want to pile on, please?
I do. I think it's a little disingenuous because, not only has our fuel economy not gotten as much better as what they say, they're comparing these 1980 level cars. They should stop and compare the emissions from those 1980 cars, and things like the fact that those cars didn't have airbags and the weight differences in the cars that we have now that brings fuel economy down. The fact that they have been able to raise fuel economy, albeit not as much as Hyundai wishes, I think is amazing, actually, given how much heavier and bigger the quote-unquote same car is now as it was in 1980.
And how much safer they are, too. I mean, you can't just say that you add mass to something or add size to something and it gets safer. But I think it's actually quite incredible what automotive engineers are able to do, preserving and in some cases increasing the efficiency of the fuel efficiency of the cars, constantly improving on the emissions, definitely just constantly improving on safety. So, and it almost appears here that they, in their little comparison with the Civic, that looks like maybe they may be pulling the mileage from the today's model that may be coming from like the performance model, like the SI or something, and maybe that's not a fair comparison because it's not apples to apples.
Oh yeah, apples to apples is so important in this kind of comparison, and I just don't have time of day for people who won't grant us the courtesy of doing that.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm over at fueleconomy.gov, and I pulled up the 2011 Hyundai Elantra, 2011 Honda Civic, and the 2011 Hyundai Elantra Touring. And the Elantra gets 40 highway, 29 city. The Civic gets 36 highway, 25 city. And the Elantra Touring gets 30 highway, 23 city. So according to fueleconomy.gov, the Elantra gets 33 combined. The Civic gets 29 combined. The Elantra Touring gets 26 combined.
The Elantra Touring isn't a very fair comparison, though. I don't think. I mean, that's a full-on hatchback.
Right. Okay. So let's compare
that's kind of
this
the point.
Let's compare it to the Honda Civic Hybrid. Because if we're going to go apples to pears...
Oh, don't embarrass Honda.
At least he didn't say apples to lemons, right?
Oh, that's a good one.
Beat you to it, didn't I?
Oh, well played.
Oh, no, you didn't.
Justin in the chat room wants us to compare it to Chris Tomorrow's Geo Metro.
Now,
love you, Justin.
Now, I will say that when compared to the 2011 Lamborghini Geraldo Spider, it does get better mileage.
Here's the thing. Let me go kind of like idealist on you. One of the things that I would like to see in this new green car category is for people to be as honest and open and transparent as they can and not play the same old games that we played forever and ever and ever.
Oh, dream on.
I know. I'm just saying it's an opportunity for the car companies to sort of reinvent themselves in this category and say, we're going to, I think like Nissan Leafs, their that MPG range thing that they did was actually really cool because it gave a more detailed picture, I don't want to say more honest picture, but a more realistic picture of what an owner could expect. That's really good communication. This kind of crap I don't know. It bums me out because they are making cool cars, but when they do this, I think it just kind of tarnishes them.
Right, I agree. And especially, when you're talking about, marketing, advertising crap, they did take the Honda Civic combined mileage. You see here that they say the Honda Civic gets 29 miles per gallon today, but when they refer to the Elantra, it gets 40 miles per gallon. But that's only the highway mileage.
Right.
They didn't mention the 25 mile per gallon city.
And that's the built-in dishonesty.
Built-in dishonesty, I agree. I absolutely agree.
I don't know.
Come on. What do you mean?
Is it built-in dishonesty, or is it just...
It's misdirection.
It's misdirection. It's excluding information.
I mean, it's one way of saying it. I mean, does the illusionist or the magician lie to you when he distracts your attention while he pulls the trick? Maybe not. But there's a trick being pulled.
Yeah, and you don't necessarily trust that person or that company more, do you?
Do you?
Wow.
Okay.
Whatever.
It's a good-looking car that gets great gas mileage, so I guess I'm apt to give him a pass.
Well, I don't know, maybe it is and maybe it does, but I just wish, people would be more, up and honest.
Here's the thing, Danny. I mean, okay, it is. It's a good-looking car. The price is right, and it gets good mileage. So why do they have to play this game? They don't have to. They can sell it for what it really is, and that's enough. But instead, they've got to play this game, and I hate that.
If they would have said that the Honda Civic gets, 29 miles per gallon combined, and we get 33, that would have been awesome. That would have been great. And they would have said, you know what? The Honda Civic gets 29 today. They used to get 33. We still do. That would have been awesome. Instead, they had to try and trump themselves by saying 40. Yeah. Is the average consumer going to get 40? Probably not. But you know what? It's in the advertising that they might. Or at least it's implied.
Dave in the chat room says it's not lying, it's selective omission.
Exactly.
It summarizes it quite well.
I think Jim Palmer's right. It's slimy.
Yeah, it's not what I would, it's not what I think would pass the mustard in the court of law. That is to say, it's not the whole truth.
Well, this is what I've been saying for as long as I've been, driving a hybrid. You just have to let the cars stand on their own. I mean, you can't make your car look better by tearing down somebody else's car. If your car has merit, it should stand on its merits. And Hyundai wasn't even making cars in 1980, so there you go.
They went really far, from 0 to 40.
Well, what I would say about this overall is I don't even think this kind of advertising is necessary, because I'm going to go ahead and agree with Danny on this. I think we both feel about the same about this car. This car is pretty damn awesome, and it's going to sell itself. I don't think negative campaigning or negative marketing is even necessary, because people are going to see that these cars are very much an improvement on previous generations of Hyundai cars. The warranty is really amazing. The mileage is just, it's tough to believe, and the cars look really hot. So I think they're going to actually sell themselves. Hyundai has, the corporation that did the design and the engineering, they've done their work. I think maybe this just might be the advertising people doing what they do best, and that's unfortunate. But I think the cars are going to sell themselves. So.
Well, and in the article over on Adweek, it says something about, it's part of, I think it's 4 ads, 4 Elantra ads in this issue of Wired magazine that this came from. So I wonder if within the presence of the other ads, if it's more truthful, or if it makes more sense, or if it's even worse. And just a note about this model, she looks like an actress out of a Coen Brothers movie.
I don't know enough about movies to know what that means, but it's fine.
Hey, that's like somebody's sister or daughter or or wife or something.
She looks like she's been taken over by aliens.
Yeah, or zombies or something.
Join us.
Right.
Well, and speaking of zombies, our friends at GM. Oh, that was probably unfair, wasn't it?
That was an awful thing.
Wow. There goes the GM sponsorship.
Sorry. Actually,
I thought it was awesome.
Our dear friends at GM have yet to respond to another rumor this week, reported in Engadget, which is well known for reporting rumors, less than half of which perhaps are true. But it's an interesting rumor in that they are speculating that Chevrolet is contemplating making a lower cost, shorter range Volt. And and Chevrolet's obviously concerned about the high MSRP on the current Volt. A couple of things that really tweaked my interest in this. The one thing was that they're reporting in this rumor that Chevy would move the range of the Volt down to just 20 miles. And that would cut $10,000 off the cost of the car, which would make it really cheap after all the tax breaks and whatnot. I just think it's funny for all the hell that the Prius PHV has taken for its 13-mile range for Chevy to for Chevy to contemplate perhaps making a 20-mile range Volt. That I wonder if we'll hear those same people complain.
Yeah, when I was reading this... Go ahead, Honda. Ladies.
I was going to say, if you drop the rest of the battery, you could make it really cheap car. Oh, wait, that would be called the Cruise.
You could already have it out in production. Wow.
Hey.
I mean, what are they thinking? The thing about the Volt is the fact that you can get 40 miles.
Well, I think that they're taking
I don't understand it.
I think they're just taking their more car than electric tagline really seriously.
Yeah.
And they're making more car, less electric.
More car, no electric.
So 20 miles isn't enough range?
Yeah, when I was reading this and they were talking about downsizing the car's batteries, my first thought was, they're coming out with the Prius PHV. Congratulations. Exactly. Except even worse so because the charge sustaining mode is probably only going to average, what is it, like 23 miles per gallon?
Because on a plug-in Prius, at least when the big extended range electric battery is done, you're left with an awesome car. You're left with a Prius, and
you're
I'm
still
not really
with Prius. Yeah,
exactly. Yes.
Touche.
I see not severe, but there are design problems, I think, in this car, and they are forgivable because of it's got a 40-mile electric range in it, such as it only being a 4-passenger car and the limitations that come with that, and the fact that it's a compact car to begin with. I mean, knocking down the miles, the range, doesn't that just really start to take away the attractiveness of this car?
I would think so. Personally, for me, it does. Yeah.
Well, let me argue against you for a moment. So we're talking about a car that would list at $31,000. We take away the $7,500 from the feds, and that brings it down to under $25,000. In some states, you might be able to knock as much as another $5,000 off that price.
It depends on the battery pack, though. Because the tax credit is
key
based
to
on
the size of the battery pack.
Yeah.
So you may actually not get that $7,500 bonus.
Yeah. So let's for argument's sake say it's the same tax credit as the Prius PHV will be.
I'm trying to kind of I can sort of see where a cheap 20-mile range hybrid, because I hate extended range EV, would actually be appealing to people who didn't drive that much. I mean, we know, again, that 20-mile range isn't necessarily horrible for a lot of car owners, especially since you can still drive past that range. No?
Well, I think a lot of people, it'll be good for a lot of people, but it's got to be cutting out lots and lots of people. Some people, many people, I'm sure, still look at the range that the Volt as it is right now and go, man, if it was just a little bit more, I'd pop on that. I'd get one of those. But I mean, I think they're trying to make the car. They're going to put together this nice advertisement that said, the Chevy Volt starting at blah blah blah, and maybe not everybody will realize that's kind of the low ball, small battery, not quite as cool and useful as the other ones. But
now starting at $31,000.
Right. It would be nice if they kept both models. I mean, if they do introduce a stripped down, less electric model, it would be nice if they gave people the option of getting the original as well.
I don't know.
Maybe the way the Model S is going to have multiple ranges. Maybe that's Chevy's thing with this car too. But I think taking away the 40-mile model is just doing a disservice to people.
Am I missing something in the article? There's nothing in here, just to be clear, that says they're going to eliminate the current one in place of this. This looks like, it looked to me, at least, that was my read on it, like they would be adding an entry level, for lack of a better way of putting it, Volt.
That's how I looked at it too. I don't think they'd get away with the current one because, I mean, let's face it, this car was engineered to be what it is right now, and it seems to me that maybe if they were only shooting for, you know, the 20-mile EV range, that they could have done some different things on this car and maybe not had to gone to so much trouble in certain respects, and then could have made the car cheaper to begin with. But
well, I don't know if maybe it's just yeah, I hate to say that Tim Stevens did a poor job writing this, or maybe we're doing a poor job of trying to interpret it. But if the article would have said, now we're hearing rumors that GM is thinking of introducing a downsized version,
or adding a model,
or adding a downsized version, I would have agreed with you, Russell. But instead, it says, we're hearing rumors that GM is thinking of downsizing the car's batteries. There's no mention of introducing or complementing or adding. So either the article was written ambiguous, or I'm interpreting it incorrectly.
Well, let me add one more thing that maybe nobody but me noticed.
The source?
Yeah.
Favorite stocks?
And I believe that's actually a site that we've ripped on this show in the past.
Oh, yeah. We've used Fave stocks quite a bit.
Yeah. So, you know, I mean, and again, I don't want to put too much stock in parsing this third-hand version of a rumor from Fave stocks, but I do think it's interesting. And again, it just in sort of as we develop these vehicles for mainstream consumers, kind of looking at where the sweet spots are, price range-wise, size-wise, that kind of thing. What are people willing to pay for? I mean, I think, Danny, this dovetails in with your experience in the Leaf. You know, it's a great car. It's cool. But I think the big thing that seemed like you came away with was it's not really, I'm not going to spend that much on that car.
Right. And
I would.
Reading
Reading
the Fave Stocks original article and the quotes that they use, it does sound like they're talking about knocking down the battery of the existing Volt.
That would be a huge mistake.
Yeah, I'm reading it now, and I got to tell you.
Let me put on my Prius fanboy hat real quick. A 13-mile Prius PHV at 31,000, or a GM Volt 20-mile range at 31,000. That gets Prius will get 50 miles to the gallon after the range is gone. The Volt will get like what, 40 maybe?
23? Wait, I thought somebody was recording that sustaining mode was very low.
Yeah, I think 40 is probably optimistic. I've heard 30.
Okay, so
let's call it 40.
Okay,
less than yes. Yeah,
but
no,
let's be nice.
Well, I was just thinking
what normal consumer would pay, would get the extra range? I wouldn't see any reason for the extra range. If you're buying an extended
premium
range,
gasoline, I would buy the Volt. I would buy the Volt to enjoy the pleasure of buying premium gasoline at the pump.
Nice.
I was just thinking I would feel differently, and I could actually tolerate less EV alone range if what I had to look forward to when I ran out of that was again having a Prius, just essentially a third generation Prius when the big battery died, and I would think I would really, really dread what I would be left with when I entered charge sustain mode on a Volt, and that's just because I don't know so much about the car, et cetera, but it can't compete with the third generation Prius, the efficiency of that, in its charge sustain mode. So it would really feel like a letdown,
I agree.
Yeah,
at least you'd still have a Prius left, in the other one, because that's a car with proven efficiency.
I got to tell you, that was my quite honestly, that was part of my favorite part of driving the PHV. I mean, it was fun to drive it in electric, but even when the electric was over, I could still pulse it and glide it. I could still get 70 miles per gallon out of that car.
The fun had just begun, right?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was more car than electric.
Wait, we talked about it. Oh, never mind.
I don't
Well, from one fantasy vehicle to another.
Oh, wait, before we get off of the
No, you
Volt.
wrecked my beautiful segue.
That was
Well,
a beautiful
just-
segue.
edit that.
Go ahead.
I just want to draw attention to the picture here on the Engadget ad.
Big gardener.
I love the gardener in the back trimming the bushes.
I
It made me
know.
wonder: is this a picture for a Volt or a women's razor?
Wow.
Do you know the commercial I have in my head?
I
think
do,
know what you're
and-
talking about.
I'm sitting here slack-jawed that I have to edit the show for that.
Oh, you're welcome.
I'm so getting back at you, Tony.
Yeah, that was a demerit, Tony.
Thank you. Panel demerit. Drop and give me 20, Schaefer.
All right, I'll take last week off.
Again? Okay. Uh-oh, wait. What is that, Danny?
I don't know. It sounds funny.
It just sounds bad on my end. Let me try pausing it real quick and restarting it. Okay, talk.
Hello, 1, 2, 3.
There we go. That's a lot better.
Still
That's better. Better.
Why would they take a picture with a landscaper, a guy?
Well, I'm guessing it's not a pro shot from GM. I'm guessing that car is actually somebody's car. They ducked in there, and somebody's like, "Oh, look, a picture." Click.
It's probably
Are you-
the shot somebody from a gadget took.
Yeah,
Are
they
you
probably
guys
took it
seeing-
at that South by
Well, but-
Southwest thing.
Are you guys seeing the bush or the shrub or whatever that's trimmed up just behind the car to the left in the picture?
It has
Protrude-
nose.
Yeah, I'm thinking Easter Island head. Does anybody else see that?
Yeah,
does.
Oh my
like that.
god.
I didn't know if it was pareidolia or whatever. It's like now I look at that and I can't not see it.
no, there's something in the on the street in the background.
Yeah, but
Par-
it doesn't look like
pareidolia,
that.
love
It looks like a shrubbery of some sort. Yeah,
Wow, and there goes this episode.
Yeah.
shrubbery nose.
Oh, man.
Russell,
You've
why don't
already
you give
got
another
it better,
try with
Russell.
your
And
No, I'm done. It's over.
segue?
but we
Hey, guys,
digress.
made to be broken.
Thank you for listening this week. I'm going to hang out in the chat room for the rest of the night.
Oh,
Before
how
you
much?
introduce it, I'm going to put the picture up for everyone in the chat room to just start laughing at it before you even start talking about it.
Put the picture up. And as I said, speaking of funny vehicles, Engadget reported on one. And just to give you a little background, those of you regular listeners may have heard us talk about some BMW concept vehicles that were, shall we say, outlandish. And if you watched the enhanced version of the show, you saw the pictures of the bat suit trike and the helmeted powered skates and things like that. Well, someone's come up with something they're calling an EX trike. This is a three-wheeled conveyance, and it is powered by, wait for it, 2 electric screwdrivers. Yes. 2 electric screwdrivers. So not only does it look like the most uncomfortable and dangerous vehicle ever invented, it's powered by something from Home Depot.
Dudes, look
Yeah.
at the picture. Those are actually little drills. Those aren't
Yeah.
screwdrivers in the picture. They're
Those
drills.
are like Bosch straight out of Home Depot.
If you follow the link and look at the close-up pictures, those screwdrivers are actually zip-tied to the frame.
And the
Excellent.
driver, the operator in this position, you said screwdriver. It looks like, well, at least he's in the position to get screwed. Somebody had
Yeah,
to go.
you slip on that. Oh,
Dope.
And how comfortable is it to hold that like push-up position while you drive, quote-unquote?
It's going to be horrible for your neck. Oh,
Yeah, but the bike looks
You
better
can
than that
recharge.
scooter we had last week.
You can recharge what?
Electric Pickle in the chat says you can recharge at any Home Depot.
Nice.
I think you just pop out the battery and pump in a new one.
yeah.
So Frost, I can't really follow you week to week because last week there was some silly bike that we were talking about that you loved, and this week we have another silly bike, and you don't love this one. So what are your requirements? You need a backpack that comes with your bike.
He
or
likes
what
the
do you need?
two-wheelers, right?
Nice question, Cooper. Nice question.
Uh,
Go ahead, Frost. Start digging yourself out.
you know, I just don't really have anything that's broadcastable to say to that. That's the problem.
Oh, you already have to edit the show.
Yeah, that's true.
Can't be any worse than the B-roll from last week.
Oh my, we had so much B-roll last week. No, I mean, seriously, I mean, obviously this is like a joke and the other thing is actually like a scooter. It may not be pretty and you may not like the way it looks, but it's, the way scooters have looked, that configuration and those ergonomics for decades, this is a freaking joke.
No, this is organically floating movement.
No, that's a joke. If they'd done it recumbent bike style, it would actually work and probably be safer and comfortable and maybe even somewhat rideable. That they did it like this crotch rocket style, obviously somebody was either screwed up on drugs or just not thinking very clearly. I mean, honestly, you could have built the frame with probably the same amount of metal, so it wouldn't have been, any harder to build.
Whoever built this thing lives on very smooth roads.
Oh,
right. Electric bicycles and the like don't have to be hideous. This week I've been bicycle shopping because I'm getting ready to buy a bike just for fitness and whatnot, and I saw that the Trek Corporation has a very cool electric assist bike that has a nice battery that you can easily take on and off from the back, and it's got essentially a system that reminds me of Honda's IMA. It's a wheel motor generator, and you can it looks like a bicycle. It doesn't look ridiculous or like some sort of a weird sadistic torture device or something. It looks good, and I suppose it's very functional as well.
So what do you think gets tired first, your arms or your neck?
I think your knees.
Oh.
There's nothing there. You're just on a little
I think my groin.
I say your ears because you're tired of everybody laughing at you.
Nicely done.
Excellent.
I like Dave's comment in the chat. He wondered if the drills were hot swappable. Yeah, all you got to do is cut the zip ties.
If you take one off on the left, do you start veering to the right though, and you got to hurry up and switch it before you wipe out?
So
that would be so funny if you have to mount the drill onto the cog, basically, just like tightening a bit into the drill.
Here's a worry that I have. The zip ties are zipped to a bare metal piece. So as the vehicle travels at its maximum speeds of 19 miles an hour, if you are asking to die and not have children, won't the rubbing of it eventually wear down the zip tie and one of your drills will just fall off while you're trying to ride your bike to
not
wherever?
Before it whacks you in the groin.
Exactly. Well, okay, have we beat up on the EX strike enough?
Couldn't make up anything funnier than that.
Yeah, I can't. I hope someday, somewhere, I'll get to ride one of these and lose my dignity and...
I hope that somebody is nearby with a camera the day that happens, Russell.
Uh-huh.
This is like something you would see on The Onion, like...
Exactly!
Something...
Yeah.
This is like GM's next Volt that's coming out.
It's the Volt 2.
Yeah.
Did you guys see the helmet has active noise canceling to block out the laughter?
Yeah. Motors bought McKee so they can make it, So ridiculous. Well, speaking of ridiculous, let's go from the ridiculous to the ridiculous.
Seriously?
The Suzuki.
This is a real scooter.
The Suzuki Bergman scooter is actually a real scooter. It's been around for years. It's a very cool scooter. It's there's several others like it from other companies. It's a higher horsepower. It's a bigger, heavier scooter. In most states, it's freeway legal. They're really cool. Well, Suzuki came out with a press release this week, and it's the most pandering, whoring, pointless, worthless press release. Am I forgetting any words? No.
Honda.
Okay.
Oh, no, sorry. Never mind.
Oh, wow. I didn't even think of that.
Cooper?
That's good.
Sorry.
So what are we talking about? We're talking about the Suzuki Bergman fuel cell scooter. And yes, it was approved in the EU for sale. Now, what do I hate about this scooter? Number one, it runs on pixie dust. Number two, it's approved for sale, but Suzuki is very intentionally and overtly coy about saying when, if ever, they're going to actually make this thing. This is one of the most cheesy attempts at donning a halo that I can recall seeing. So tell me where I'm wrong.
This is beautiful.
You're not.
This is a real scooter compared to that one last week.
But I love the comment on the at the very end where he says, "No word on plans to bring it to the U.S., but a boy can dream, can't he?" And I'm thinking, yes, a boy can dream that a hydrogen fuel cell can deliver more energy than it took to create the hydrogen in the first place.
Well, that.
There's no free hydrogen.
No, there isn't.
I'm all for offshore drilling of hydrogen.
Does anyone else look at this and think that something looks wrong about the proportions? Something doesn't look right here to me. I'm just trying to picture the position that the rider will be in on this. Does anyone see what I'm talking about? It seems...
No. It's a standard layout for that.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, that basically is like a Bergman 500cc scooter.
Okay.
What were you?
I guess
are you still looking at the last picture?
What are you seeing? What are you seeing, Jason? Be specific.
I'm just thinking that I'd like to see something there for proportions, but it almost looks like that the legs will. I mean, you're going to have your legs sprawled out in front of you just a little bit.
No, there's
a little bit, knees up.
There's actually a floorboard on each side.
Yeah, see, I'm just thinking that the way that looks, that seat is so low from where my feet are going to be sitting on that floorboard. Maybe it's an optical illusion, but it just seems like my knees are going to be up, so high, and I'll be sitting in such an odd position. But I don't pay much attention to scooters, so I guess I just can't picture what a person looks like riding one of these now.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I've ridden the Bergman a few times, and it's a pretty comfortable little scooter.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah, a Honda makes one like it. I don't know if they still call it the Helix, and I think it's the Reflex now. And then they have a bigger version that's like a 750cc version called the Pacifica.
Dave in the chat says, finally a fuel cell option at under $40,000. Well, we actually don't know that.
Yeah.
It wouldn't surprise me if this was more
don't
than
hold your breath.
$40,000.
We don't know how much it's going to cost. We don't know when they're going to make it. It's just approved for sale. Hey, thanks, guys. Oh, I hate this. I wish, because it would be 10 times as cool if it was electric, or if it was biodiesel, or if it was something that people could actually buy and use. Instead, it's a fuel cell, and you've got to trap a unicorn so they can recharge it.
You have to trap 2 unicorns so that they can mate and create hydrogen offspring.
Oh.
Right.
Well, there you go. Oh, thank you. Thank you. That's very good. There's a...
Oh, that works too.
Yeah. Posted a picture. See? It's a very comfortable scooter.
The guy's wearing a helmet because he didn't want to be seen on it.
It looks a lot bigger in that picture.
It's a good size scooter. I mean, it's nearly a full-size motorcycle.
Oh.
Especially with that plastic and stuff.
See, that looks a lot different to me. I don't know why.
I'll drop it in.
Yeah, I see it now. I see it.
Yeah, totally different angle.
Okay.
But it's I mean, that's a legit design. Mm-hmm. But yeah, actually, this one might be a little stripped down compared to that one, huh? Either way,
well,
hydrogen aside, I think it looks good.
I'm sorry, Danny?
I was just going to say it has that monster exhaust.
Yeah. Yeah, and all the disparaging Fido remarks aside, it's just it's that modern style of scooter, whereas the Fido's more Vespa, and if you don't like that Vespa style, then you like this style. That's okay.
Yeah, there's absolutely no word on distance or anything. I mean, there's absolutely no details here.
Yes, Force, it does look like a big damn scooter.
It is.
See, the first picture made it look like, like a little Ciao. You ride around.
No.
Eh.
No, this is, you can put two people on this thing and go. Again, I think the Bergman comes in like 400 or maybe a 250 and a 500 or a 250 and a 600 cc size. And a 600 cc motor's a good motor in a little scooter like that. So, yeah, and all this one spits out is leprechaun gold.
I think we're going to see a scooter on the road that's powered by matter, antimatter annihilation before we see one that's powered by a hydrogen fuel cell, honestly. But
yeah, I just, maybe it's me, but I see this stuff and it makes me mad because I want to see cool scooters, and this would be cool if it was electric.
Agreed. Absolutely agree with that.
Wow, I got an agreement. Yay!
Don't let it go to your head.
Thank you. Okay. Well, any final remarks on the Bergman fuel cells?
Ooh, I will say, I just actually saw one good post in the comments section. Someone said, "So, where are you going to get hydrogen?"
Yeah.
And the response to that was, well, here in Scandinavia, we already have hydrogen highways, making the region one of the first regions in Europe where hydrogen is available and used as a network of refueling stations.
Just in Norway.
Yeah. So
Only in Norway.
Only in Norway. So there are places, and they use hydropower, and they have for the last 100 years to produce hydrogen from clean, renewable source. So for 2% of the global population, probably 0.2% of the global population, this may be an applicable scooter for a month and a half of the year.
Well, what about the next comment, though, Tony? I mean, it sounds like the next guy's got, he's got a viable solution, I think.
Oh yeah, Jupiter. True.
Even though the sun's closer.
Yep. Have they thought about could they get it from Uranus? Oh.
Oh.
That's a gas giant, right?
Yeah.
Oh man, we just went straight into the dumper, didn't we?
Dive headfirst into the shallow end.
Well, you know what? Since I totally blew past the Leaf, Danny's Leaf experience, are we missing anything else this week?
Internet Explorer 9 got released.
Jeez.
Another thing about fairy dust. There was one other thing I wanted to bring up that wasn't in the show notes, and I'll share a link here so that Danny can share it with the chat room and everyone else. Bruce Schneier, who is a security and cryptography expert, has a fascinating blog that I read religiously. And he had an interesting post this morning about someone that has found a way to add extra code to an MP3 file, burn it onto a CD, and then put it in the car's stereo system, and it alters the firmware of the car.
Oh, I do that all the time.
Sweet. Can it make my graphics better and give me more information?
If only. I just, obviously from a security perspective, that's not a great idea. Let's say you download some random MP3 and you burn it to a CD and you shove it in the car. And just because you guys were so good.
You might accidentally brick your car.
You might brick your car. The best comment in this whole thread is actually the second one, and
I just read that.
And it is, and I quote, "I bet the one remaining guy who still burns MP3 CDs is super concerned right now."
That's pretty funny.
It is an interesting. I mean, as cars are run more and more by computers. We've had lots of talk over the last few years about, the RFID chips in smart keys. How hackable are those? Can someone scan it somehow if you use the key and then get into your vehicle at some point? I mean, these are actually potentially real issues that car companies need to look at. And absolutely. So yeah, and we should actually. That Danny, thank you for reminding me on that. Was that Danny? That was Danny Cooper. And then finally, if I look at my notes, I would have known that. I just wanted to kind of toss this around a little bit because obviously the biggest news on the planet this week is the tsunami and the earthquake and the tsunami in Japan, and obviously the ongoing horror that is the Fukushima nuclear plant melting down. And there's certainly nothing funny about that, and there's nothing funny about what's going on there. But I do think that it makes a point. Germany this week also announced they're closing 7 reactors or shutting them down that were built before 1980, which brought lots of cheers from the German public. We've talked before about solar energy and how practical that is, and people like to bring up, well, is the cost of this and the cost of that, and we can't do this. When you look at the risk versus exposure with nuclear plants, this example in Japan is certainly an excellent one. It's great when everything's running great, but when they go wrong, it's bad, and you can't fix it. And potentially this is going to have a global impact. So,
I hear what I consider to be conflicting reports. I mean, there are some who have said this is the worst thing ever and you should buy more gold. Of course, that was going back. And then there are those who say that all the security things were in place, and that the amount of radiation, one person said if you got on the airplane and flew from San Francisco to Tokyo, you would receive more radiation from the sun in the plane than you would if you went to the site itself. So I'm getting, what I consider to be conflicting reports.
Well, here's all I would say to that, and I can't counter that with my, with a different version, but I would say this. If they're dropping water from helicopters, or actually tried to but couldn't, if they've evacuated the area for 12 miles around it, if already they're seeing higher radiation levels in Tokyo, I got to think something's going on there. If it was safe, they could just bring firemen in and pour water on it or whatever they do to slow down the reactor and cool it off, and it would be good. But they don't appear to be able to do that.
So do you think maybe we're not hearing the whole story?
I'm sure we're not hearing the whole story.
Yeah, I'm sure of that.
Yeah. I'm absolutely, and no matter how good or bad it may be, I'm sure we're not hearing the whole story. I mean, do we ever hear really, concise, accurate reporting on things like this? Japan. Yeah. Every day, Japan's kind of stepped back from it's no big deal. It's kind of a big deal. It's a really big deal. So I don't know. And I don't want to panic and make a big deal, but I do think that the point, and Tony, you've made this point, I've made this point several times, if this was a solar installation.
When a solar panel falls over, it doesn't affect, thousands and thousands of people.
Yeah. There's no cesium released when a solar panel falls over. And that, to me, is really the bottom line here. It's...
sorry, finish, Russell.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say that's not realistic. I mean,
Why?
Because unless you put a solar panel on top of every roof in all of Japan, it probably wouldn't create as much energy as that nuclear reactor.
All right, so let's put solar panels on top of every roof in Japan.
Sounds like a good idea.
I'm not kidding. Let's put solar panels on every flat roof in the United States and create a network of a grid electricity.
It's a great idea, but isn't this like one of the most outside chance happenings that ever could have happened to any sort of nuclear facility? I mean, I don't want to champion or denounce nuclear, but it seems like the act of God in general is something that could have never been really foreseen. I mean, unless you start building nuclear reactors at the bottom of the ocean, you can't really protect them from something like this happening.
I would say that, and this, in general, I think there's some validity to your point, Danny, but I would also say that look at Chernobyl, look at 3 Mile Island, look at this one. When these things go bad, we can't fix them. And again, it's that risk versus exposure thing. You know, the risk is significant, but it has a really small exposure. So it seems like it's a risk we're willing to take. But when it goes bad, it goes really, really bad. To me, that's not something to invest in. I want to decrease that risk so that if something goes bad, it just goes bad, because something always does. And specifically with Japan, I mean, this is a Pacific Rim nation. This is one of the most seismically active countries on the planet. You can't, as safe as, and the testament to Japanese engineering and Japanese building codes has been the amount of damage that hasn't been done there. And that's amazing. In lots of other countries, this earthquake would have been, I mean, devastating, doesn't even begin to cover it.
That's why they don't do nuclear in Haiti.
But,
they don't really have the building codes for it there.
Yeah, in a seismically active country like Japan, where you know earthquakes are going to happen. You know it. It's going to happen. It's not even, it's going to happen next decade. It's just a matter of how big is it going to be. And yes, you can build fail-safes and you can make things good to a point. But again, when it goes wrong, can you fix it? You know, when the reactor starts to melt down, is there a button you can press, or is there a procedure that you can follow that makes it safe?
Well, some of the latest generation reactors, the Gen 3 and the Gen 4 stuff, are designed such that they can't really go critical. The reaction can't be sustained in the point of a failure. I'm not really sure how old this particular reactor was. I haven't researched that myself, but I'm guessing it's probably not the latest technology that's possible from nuclear power. There is something to be said about that. Later generations of the technology have improved such that safety concerns that were legitimate and that we faced during the Chernobyl thing, and the only thing I think really that went wrong with the 3 Mile Island is that I believe that other reactor is just, nobody really died or anything. It just it went horribly wrong, and you can't go, like Russell said, you can't go in and fix it. But the latest generation of these reactors, it's a totally different animal.
Okay. Yeah, it's 35 years old.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was pretty old. So I mean, the ones that are engineered, and there really aren't any built, at least in this country today. But the ones that are being built worldwide these days are not facing the same risks that a 35-year-old reactor would.
Hence the reason for Germany's reaction. No pun intended. Closing down those older pre-1980 plants.
Yeah, I can't help but to think that, when you have a coal-fired power plant, it doesn't have to explode to create environmental devastation.
Excellent point.
It just does that on a regular basis, but we accept it. I mean, not just the burning and the introduction of all the particulates and the smoke and the everything into the air, but on the southeastern United States, where they're doing mountaintop coal mining and completely destroying entire ecosystems, and we got miners in the coal mines that are dying because of collapses, and nobody seems to even care about that. That's all I'm saying.
Can we talk for a moment about the automotive side of it?
Yeah.
Because a lot of the vehicles
yes.
that we're interested in from an advanced tech perspective are made in Japan. The Leaf is made in Japan. The Prius is made in Japan.
I thought you were going to talk about nuclear-powered cars.
You scared me for a second. I thought you were going to say the Volt, Danny. Oh. Okay.
No, thank goodness. Don't worry, its production will remain as it is. Well, my point is
made in Mexico or something? Sorry. Don't listen to me. Continue.
Toyota's already shut down their plants. Temporarily. I think they were supposed to reopen tomorrow, but they've shut down their plants. I guess while they account for all their people, from what I understand, all their people have been accounted for, both with Toyota and with Nissan. But it's got to be. I think it's got to be bad, a bad outlook, when not just from a production perspective, but the fact that any car that's imported from Japan is now going to, let's say that this thing gets cleaned up right now, that it's over, and it's contained to where it is. Even if we continue, as we continue to import cars from Japan, I think that those cars might get a stigma from certain parts of the consuming population, that those cars are contaminated, or whatever you want to say about them. And then also there's the side of it that let's say that they have to keep their factories shut down. Well, that could be horrible for a company like Toyota, whose Prius is on fire right now because of gas prices. And boy, I bet they're kicking themselves for not ending up opening that American plant for Prius production.
Yeah, I'm not up on my Japan geography. Where is the Prius manufacturing facility located in relation to the disaster area and the areas that have been most heavily impacted by the natural disasters?
I think it's on the opposite end of the country. I think they're in the southwest.
Okay.
I was thinking it was about 250 miles away. That's just a guess.
This could even if there was no damage directly to Toyota's ability to at the plant to manufacture the cars, you've got to think that the transportation, the shipping infrastructure is got to be compromised in some way too. So if for no other reason than that, maybe harder to get the cars to the ports and head over to the USA or to wherever else they're going.
Yeah, and Dave in the chat makes a good point. He says, first of all, it's 230 miles from the area. The Toyota production facilities are just south of Tokyo. In the Toyota press release, they have already stated that they're not having anyone in the U.S. run overtime anymore because of constricted supply lines. They're basically running out of parts to make cars out of. So it's not just whole cars that we're having issues getting into the country for sale. It's the pieces that make the cars here in America.
Well, there's the entire electronics, microchip, stuff. Eric Electric Pickle, mentioned this as well. All electronics are going to be impacted. There's a lot of microprocessor manufacturing down in Japan.
Yeah. This is going to have a huge impact and a ripple effect that goes out on a lot of things. I don't know did any of you guys see the picture of the Nissan shipping area there, where the tsunami? It looked like the tsunami had taken like 500 little Nissans and just swept them up against, basically up until it broke and then went back. Just cars just piled up on top of each other.
Oh, jeez.
It was amazing and horrifying. Google tells me that it's a 5-hour drive between the Toyota plant and the Fukushima. It doesn't give me a distance, strangely enough. But that would seem to back up our guesses. So, and Dave knows a lot more about it than I do. If he says 230 miles, 230 miles.
Oh my God, you're right. They look like little fish eggs.
Did you see that?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's an amazing photograph. In their vehicles, and they're just stacked up. It literally looks like somebody took Hot Wheels and just swept them. I don't know, Danny. But we had a little back and forth. I'm just curious. So do you think that is your point? Nuclear power is a good idea?
I have always been a proponent for nuclear power. Obviously outside of scenarios like this is awful.
Sure.
But like Tony was saying with coal, with coal, the pollution is every day. and at this point it's become a kind of forgotten pollutant.
It's the devil we know.
Yeah, whereas in the U.S., for the most part, outside of 3 Mile Island, nuclear energy production has been very clean, and I think nuclear production is much more prevalent than people realize.
Sure.
I think most of the Southeast runs off of nuclear power.
3 Mile Island, in fact, is a good example of a containment system that worked. Nothing really reached the water table. If I'm not mistaken, they had a kind of a partial meltdown, but I don't think any fuel rods melted down and reached the water table or anything like that. The worst part about it is that I guess they still for many years can't go into that reactor. It's basically bricked up and bricked and mortared, shut and whatnot. But I mean, I don't think anybody really got hurt in that.
No, it was a release of radioactive steam.
Was there?
Yeah, that was the issue.
I wonder, were there any injuries attributed directly to that? Because I don't recall hearing
that I'm aware of.
Okay.
Except all of us nearby get little iodine pills now from the state.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Interesting.
So yeah, I'm actually bracketed. On one side there's 3 Mile Island, on the other side's Peach Bottom. Both on the Susquehanna River, and both within 15 minutes of my house.
Mm-hmm.
Well, hey, you can sell them to Californians right now. Since they're going batshit crazy over iodine pills right now.
Put them on eBay.
So, I don't know. Any other comments on Japan?
Nope.
And
I hope prayers and thoughts are with them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I hope the best.
Okay, absolutely. For everyone there, for lots of reasons. Absolutely.
I wanted to encourage anybody who's even considering it, if you have spare money and you would like to donate, I'm sure there are a lot of good, reputable organizations that are taking money on behalf of the victims in Japan, and I think that would be the next step up above, besides just keeping things in your thoughts. If you feel inclined to do so, it would probably be a wonderful thing, and I'm sure the money would be put to good use.
I think it's a great suggestion.
Let me throw up this image of the Nissan cars, because it's just unreal.
Yeah, it was. I looked at that thing in high res for about 10 minutes, and I'm just like, oh my God. You don't realize the power that these events have until you see something, human, on a human scale, and how it interacts. It's not pleasant. Right. I believe that the Red Cross is also has a fairly easy to find donation link. I think you can do it from your phone, in fact, similar to what they did. But definitely do your due diligence on that. Don't just give it to some nobody organization that you haven't heard of that's suddenly collecting money to save Japan. If you do donate, and I hope you will, find an organization that's established and that's legitimate, where that money will go to help them.
Yeah, Jimbo Palmer on the chat just mentioned UMCOR, and if I remember correctly, I think UMCOR is from the Presbyterian Church, if you don't mind, or if you're Presbyterian, but I believe 100% of the donations goes to relief because it's church run. So there's something like absolutely no administrative costs.
That's good, yeah, because you don't need to donate to build up the organization's home office.
Yeah,
and I'm sure we have a lot of listeners and priest chatters who have family over in Japan. So I hope everyone is doing well and is safe
and stays that way.
Amen.
Okay, folks, that's our news for this week. We've done this before. We've had this we can't end on a heavy note. I should have but I really didn't want to put the screwdriver trike on after this. Just didn't seem right.
Yeah.
Didn't seem right when we did do it in the first place, but hey.
Fair enough. I'll take that. I'll own that.
Oh, Jimbo just corrected me. It's Methodists.
Ah.
And yes, the churches pay for administration and advertising.
Well, good for them. That's wonderful. Yeah, well, look up Core on Google and do something to help, because that's a good thing. It's the least we can do.
So can anyone explain why all the pictures on the Engadget stories are hyperlinks, and when you click them, you go back to the original article?
It's owned by AOL? I don't know. That's an excellent question,
The way it's
Tony.
coded.
That just seems weird.
Okay.
Okay. Well, there we go.
That's a great way to end the show. Thanks, Tony.
Thanks, Tony. Yeah, thanks
Good
for
for
that,
you.
Secretary. I'll enjoy editing it out later.
Screw you.
And I'll enjoy adding that to the B-roll. And I hope, I guess on a brighter note, I hope everyone enjoyed the B-roll for last week's. That was actually a lot of fun to work on. So I listened to that about 6 times.
I hope no one was
I need to
offended.
actually listen to that. I haven't checked that one out just yet.
Oh, that's it. You're off the show, Jason.
Yeah.
Uh,
I'll have plenty of time to listen to the B-roll now, won't I?
Exactly correct. You can go back to every episode.
Yeah.
So, as always, I want to thank Michael Mannering for our theme music. Please visit him at manthing.com. You can read my rantings at priusownersgroup.com. And now, strangely enough, you can read my rantings at priuschat.com as well. You'll see infrequent op-eds from me in there, just trying to stir up trouble. So shout out to Justin, who I think is still in the chat room. Hey, Justin. Awesome to see you in the chat room, dude. And I want to also thank Trevor Fleck from the Mater Dei Supermileage team for coming on. It was great to have him with us. And you know what? Am I a geek if I say it's kind of inspiring?
Not at all.
No.
That's exactly the way I would say
but
it.
it is.
Yeah.
I think it's totally cool that, like, he's doing something so not like a high school kid, building super efficient vehicles, and all I cared about was if I could put bigger tires on my Mustang. So cheers to him. I hope they do well in the competition coming up in April. I also want to thank, of course, my co-host Danny Cooper and all of our panelists, Tony, Linda, and Jason this week. Thank you very much for coming on and making it a great show. And my new favorite part of the show, the chat room. Thanks, everybody in the chat room. It's so cool to have that interaction and get great questions from everybody there. So that's it for me this week. Mr. Cooper, I turn the mic over to you.
All right. Well, I'd like to do a shout out to Nate Dogg, who we lost last night from a stroke. So sorry, Nate Dogg. He's part of the Warren G. Regulate song, in case you don't remember.
I was just going to say Warren G.
Yeah, thank you. All right.
I knew that one.
Yeah. Kind of counting down the days until the Prius V. Very excited about it. We are, of course, going to have lots of great accessories for it. And we already have great accessories for the 2010 Prius over at priuschat.com/shop. As the weather is warming up, it's a great opportunity to maximize your MPGs with something like a scan gauge, or if you have a real rainy season in the spring, it's a great time to add some all-weather mats if you didn't in the winter, or some mud guards. So it's a great time to have a Prius because you start to see your MPGs really skyrocket, and that's if you're a normal driver and don't drive like Jason.
Gee, thanks.
Minding your own business, and you really just got slammed.
Yeah.
I was hoping he wasn't even listening. He'd be like, what? Huh?
I don't miss much over here. I listen pretty close.
Well, Tony. What's up?
Hey, I'm here at facebook.com/whatdrivesus, all one word. And we're up to 292 people liking the page. So come on, find 8 of your friends and have them find 8 of their friends. And I'm sure at least a few of them will like the page.
And as Jennifer Aniston said, let's go virus.
Oh my God.
He said that? That's awesome.
So, 292, which means we're practically winning
Oh.
Oh,
Had to get that in there. I have to also give my thanks to Trevor for having the guts to come on and hang out with us for a while. Hope I do kick some ass down in Texas. And I feel kind of weird saying hey to Justin, who is sitting there on the chat. So here, I'll just type it instead.
there we go.
Hey, Justin. All right, there we go.
That might even confuse him a little bit. Don't forget, you can call us and leave a voicemail with your question or comment. You can call us at 575-51-DRIVE. Once again, we may even feature you on the show if you do. Are you brave enough? Are you?
Calling you out.
That's it. We're calling you out. Bring it. It's 575-51-DRIVE.
Oh God, I almost called and left a message the other day. I don't remember what it was, but I was thinking I should call and leave a voicemail.
You are hell-bent. I'm derailing the end of the show. Anything. You can just pop on. I'm thinking you're trying to avoid doing something. I don't know what it is.
I'm in rare form. Yeah.
Linda, will you help save me here? And
I can try.
oh,
Yeah. I would love to plug, say hi to Justin. Hi, Justin. And like Tony, it's nice to see you in the chat. I would like to plug I'd like to thank Trevor also. I'll just do what everybody else does here. I'd like to plug a little show that we have coming up in July 23rd and 24th here in Madison called Green Drive Expo. If you haven't been there, you should. I think Trevor should absolutely bring the Mater Dei Supermileage team up. That would be a whole lot of fun. If you can't make it to Madison, or even if you can and want to do both shows, we're also having one in California on September 17th. And you can get more information at www.greendriveexpo.com.
I want to know where I can get the purring kitty.
I'm sorry about that, too.
No, you don't have to stop it.
I can edit him out, and I can try this again before I lose the rest of my voice.
No, that's fine. Since we're lucky we got that. Jason, now's your chance to get back at everyone.
Now, why would I want to do that?
I can't. I cannot.
At least me.
I'm also going to try to help with that, Linda. I'm going to talk to Trevor, and I'm going to see. I'm going to tell him a lot about Green Drive, and going to tell him that it would be really cool if the if the Mater Dei Supermileage team would come up there, and maybe if there was some sort of tech or something they could be. Wouldn't it be cool if they could actually bring George up there?
Wouldn't it be cool if we had like an MPG challenge they could run? Oh,
Yeah.
oh, wait. Maybe
Yeah.
we do.
Yeah, you could do something about that. You run a mean MPG challenge, so yeah, I'll tell him all about it and kind of pimp the show for you guys too, because I think that would be very cool to see those guys up there too. I think not only would they enjoy themselves, I think a lot of us would have a great time talking to them. So
You know, Jason, not to interrupt, but you're inviting someone to the MPG challenge that has a vehicle that gets 2,843 miles per gallon.
yeah, I suppose. But that's okay because I never win every year anyway. Bill Kinney always wipes the floor with me anyway, so
Fair enough.
I'd just like to see him dethroned, maybe.
So really, you're bringing a ringer.
Yeah,
Something like that. Yeah,
that's good.
It's getting cutthroat, guys.
yeah. Take him out.
Nice. And that's it, Jason. I didn't derail you, did I?
I derail myself often, but no, I'll be predictable and finish with the same thing I always say. You guys can follow me on Twitter. I'm at HypermilerJason, and you can see my daily struggles to maintain the best gas mileage I can in whatever I'm driving for the day. I'm anticipating wearing shorts tomorrow because we're going to be in the lower to mid 70s, and I'm going to try like hell to match my gas mileage to our temperatures here in the Civic. So
Sounds awesome.
got to have a goal.
We all do, don't we? Don't forget you can visit us online at whatdrives.us to listen or download our shows. Search What Drives Us on iTunes, and you can subscribe there and get the new shows the moment we send them there. And isn't that fun? or obviously just go to whatdrives.us and you can stream the show there in either MP3 or enhanced M4A form with pretty pictures and chapters. Don't forget as
YouTube.
well. I'm sorry?
Don't forget to mention YouTube.
Oh, or YouTube. Well, I guess I should. It's youtube.com/drivesusmedia. Excuse me. That's youtube.com/drivesusmedia, where Danny is nice enough to post all of the video episodes. You can read the chat. You can see the pictures. And you can have a full multimedia What Drives Us experience. And how much fun is that going to be?
In 720p.
Yeah, 720p video. Don't forget, if you want to hang out with us live, every Wednesday, 9 p.m. Eastern, the show starts a little bit after that, but you get to hear some of the pregame fun. You can do that. You can visit whatdrives.us, click on the live button at the top, or Danny, what was the live stream address?
Livestream.com/whatdrivesus.
Excellent. Thank you very much. And finally, thanks to everyone in the chat room. Thanks, everyone, male and female. I think it's all boys tonight, isn't it? Except for Linda. We need to work on that.
I think you're right.
Yeah, we need to work on that. And it's awesome. It is definitely awesome having you guys there. So for this week, thank you for listening. Download us next week and find out what drives us.
I know what you're laughing at.
Somebody else is not a boy.